The Ombudsman notes there'd been a declining trend in the number of complaints received until the COVID pandemic broke. There was a sharp rise in 2021 as the office dealt with the backlog, with a slight increase in 2022. Nevertheless, Ron Coram says there are statistics that are still concerning, although there was some good news for the health authority. The report highlights the 20% improvement in the number of complaints received about the GHA. This, Ron Coram says, is because of the Patients Advocacy Liaison Service, or PALS as it's known, which is now fully staffed. This is especially noteworthy when considering that 33% of last year's complaints related to a lack of communication or information, a trend that's been increasing year in, year out. Because of this, Ron Coram says he's undertaken a comprehensive study to understand why this continues to be the case. It found that in many of the departments there were insufficient resources allocated to the front line of some public services. However, he points out that times have changed and there needs to be a recalibration of traditional management structures to implement 21st century government policies. In other words, there needs to be more administrative staff or doers in some areas and a slimmer managerial layer. Arguably, he says, this would reduce complaints linked to delays in communication, non-replies and inaction by government departments. While Ron Coram acknowledges that e-services appears to have been successfully implemented, he points out that this is viewed by many as an impersonal platform, which further distances the direct contact between the citizen and the public official. Nevertheless, the Ombudsman says assessing the number and types of complaints he's received shows an effective overall picture on how a public service is performing. It is doing what it's supposed to do, he says, but it can still be done better. In this his third report, Ron Coram says there's been no feedback nor comment on the Venice Principles, which he's highlighted previously, nor, he says, has there been any progress since 2019 on legislating for own motion proposals. In addition, he says past recommendations have simply been parked to one side. Like a fictional character in a non-fictional play, the Ombudsman says he has no sharp teeth with which to enforce their implementation.